Hey Adam,
Hey dude.
have you been to Hamburg before?
Yeah, I've been a couple of times. This place is absolutely beautiful and like, what about the weather?
Where are you from originally?
So I'm from Manchester, it's a long story, but mostly from Manchester, yeah.
Well, you told us before that you spent some time in Dubai.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Dubai, born
Really?
in Sharjah, yeah. Lived out there for about 7 years, but then came over to the UK. I've been there pretty much ever since.
Right, awesome. And what have you been doing? What have you been up to these past several years?
Oh, damn. Long story. So, studied physics. Afterwards, struggled to get a job. Was moving from odd job to odd job, doing sales, technical support, all this kind of thing. All the while developing my ideas to start my own business. So I started as a 3D printing company and just grew and grew and grew into what I'm doing now.
All right. And what did you study? You studied physics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you up to right now?
So, studying physics, after that trying to develop a company in 3D printing, grew to fab labs, grew to decentralized manufacturing networks, all this kind of thing. Now I'm trying to crowdsource a space plane.
Okay, explain that a little bit more.
Okay, so basically taking open source hardware, the idea around that. So big community of people all developing one idea together, taking that to the extreme that is possible nowadays. And it's like, okay, well, what is something that's completely unprecedented? Building a space plane.
And how is this different from what Elon Musk is doing?
So what Elon Musk does, he's currently incrementally improving technology that is already there. So he's taken rockets that launch upwards and over into low Earth orbit. Now he's landing them. So the idea is it's reusable. But the thing is, you have to take all the fuel that you have with you. Whereas with a space plane, you use the atmosphere, take off for a runway. You can reduce the cost of the fuel even further because you don't have to take that much up.
Right. And why is this not being used right now?
Who knows? In all honesty, the business case has been around since the 70s. David Ashford did a lot of work. He's written a few books on how to develop spaceplane technology. But yeah, I think it's just the idea that from the space shuttle, the idea of reusable space planes just wasn't really that sexy anymore. And yeah, Elon Musk has taken rocket technology. Like, I mean, he started by trying to get rockets from Russia, right?
Okay, and so you want to build a community around this. Like you said, the software is very central to that. What is that about?
What do you mean the software?
Like you said, if you want to build a space plane, you have to have a way to organize these people, and you have to coordinate a lot of things. Like it seems that this is only possible because of the internet.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. So the idea is to create this as a decentralized project. So I guess kind of like a next generation GitHub, where all the files are online but distributed across a network like BitTorrent. So there's a few technologies out there like IPFS and IPDB that are working on this kind of thing, trying to, I guess, create a decentralized internet. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is like the first major project for this. Right.
But this is quite a big project, and you're a very young person. So how did you end up doing this? Or?
I guess this is the biggest thing that I could do in a lifetime.
All right. So basically, aim high, and
if I achieve maybe 50% of it, it'd be quite nice to get to space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as long as I'm pushing the boat out and raising the bar, people rise to meet it.
Right. And right now you're traveling around Europe and meeting lots of people. Like, what are you doing?
So I left the UK. I'm actually hitchhiking now around Europe, just to look at co-working spaces, look at fab labs, because they all factor into like a larger plan. But it's just going around co-working spaces, looking for inspiration and trying to find the right contacts. Because I mean, I've just been to Berlin, and the level that they are operating at is just next level. That is the epicenter for everything blockchain, and there are loads of aerospace engineers that are interested in the project. So it's a really, really good place to get ideas and start the community development.
Right, and find people that are interested in. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Endgame.
So initially developing like a kind of rep wrap prototype so that you can do the basics of like taking off for a runway, go to space, land back down on a runway. I make it sound very simple, obviously not. But the idea is develop it further and further and further, automate it so it can become a drone, to do logistics. So you can take materials up to space, and you can look at infrastructure projects, like permanent infrastructure projects.
Like the ISS?
Yeah, like the ISS, like developing space elevators, developing space hotels, like for private industry.
It seems so out there, but this is quite possible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no physical laws stopping us.
Right. It's only the arrangement of humans.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
Right.
So create the community and organize them properly, you can do anything.
Right. So basically,
so long as it's within physical laws.
Right. Right. So basically, the edge that we're pushing up against is not anymore the technology, but the way that we organize people to achieve an aim. Right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And you have some experience with that, running a co-working space.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've only run a co-working space. So yeah, it's run a co-working space. Works a little bit with the Fab Labs as well. So I have a bit of experience with these new ways of organizing things. So these distributed manufacturing networks and how people could organize themselves in the future around these like central nodes.
Right. And you have also been active in, let's say, the kind of voluntary space, like the voluntary space, right? No.
Yeah. Well, how so? What do you mean?
No, like, I mean, there are different ways of thinking about human affairs, right? One is the one of forcing people to achieve something, and then the other one is to inspiring people to do something and giving them the opportunity to put their talents to the best use possible, right?
Like that should be the ultimate dream of democracy, right?
Right, right.
So that it's entirely voluntary, but everybody pitches in. They're all producing something incredible.
Right.
And I mean, this is the whole thing about decentralization is it puts a positive pressure on people acting democratically.
Right. And the nation state is quite a recent invention, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it isn't. It is, right? Like a couple, not even 200 years, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the nation state, in that sense.
So what is the difference between a country and a nation state?
Well, a nation state, it's a matter of definition. Yes, I can't quite put it there.
Okay. I understand.
But do you have an idea of what the difference is? No, let's scrap this.
I guess it's like fixed borders and fixed economic zones, right?
Something like that. Yeah. Anyways,
it's like pushing like all the space is occupied, right?
Yeah,
so
I was
like
trying to get into like what could the distributed virtual nation idea.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. So, like BitNation, right?
Yes.
You're an ambassador for them. The idea of codifying a nation on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it breaks down all ideas about any physical borders, right? So, yeah. So there's all these things out there, like the international flag of planet Earth, and all these different ideas like floating around about how we could organize ourselves better in the future and have a global society that isn't top-down managed.
Right. And recently the idea or the software blockchain application that has kind of propelled this movement forward, because suddenly we have this technology that allows people to not have to rely on external actors to coordinate directly, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. So the idea of decentralization is there's no central authority.
Right.
And it just allows people to act in their own microcosms, right?
What are you most excited about with blockchain?
I guess the idea of permanence.
Permanence?
Yeah, the idea of absolute permanence helps because it's censorship resistant. As I said, it puts a positive pressure on acting democratically. And I guess, I mean, people would tout the idea of like big data or all this kind of thing, because you can do search queries across the entire blockchain with permanent data to build, I mean, next generation models for how you can organize societies. I mean, there was a talk on Friday for AI DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, where they were talking about having forests that own themselves. So the idea of like, that you would have an AI that operates the forest, an AI that operates the coral reefs, an AI that operates all this, pulls it all together into into a resource management system for the Earth. And then any profits that are made out of that, we get reinvested into a basic income.
All right, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, man. It's like the difference between universal basic income initially and now is that there wasn't any route to it, whereas this actually provides a route to it. You should really look at that talk.
Technological mechanism to actually make it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Do you have other questions that you think you would like to talk about?
I would like to have one question, but you can also look in when you answer.
Sure.
It's one of the questions that I often ask individuals.
Yeah.
What's your favorite book, and why did it influence you?
I mean, I don't want to go for something like basically bold, but flow. Yeah, you know Stephen Kotler. It's just the idea of having, like dropping into a meditative state and working in that state. It's a powerful idea, because I mean, they now have these flow dojos where they're taking SAS people, Red Bull athletes, and teaching them how to drop into this state, but for longer periods. So they're operating at peak performance for longer.
Right. And this is applicable in every field of performance, or just the athletic field?
Well, because I mean, if you look at, do you know Shots of Awe, Jason Silver?
Yes.
Yeah, you know the man. Okay, so he goes into ontological design, about how the spaces that we design us back. So taking the idea of ontological design and applying flow, you can have spaces that kind of induce flow.
Right. And have you experienced a state of flow before?
I think everybody has.
Okay.
It's like, you know, where you're just working for like 4 hours straight, and you're kind of, oh god, like how have I just worked for this long? I've produced a masterpiece here, but.
So what kind of work makes you come alive?
Thinking.
Thinking.
Thinking for a long time about a lot of things, but also, yeah, I mean, like making music, art, all this kind of thing. It's just nice just to detach from reality for a bit.
Right. All right.
Cool.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.